all you cool cats and kittens. That's not right. Let's try that again. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're outside, enjoying the nature, going for a hike. What I want to talk about today is actually cold water immersion. Now, that's like a thing. That's like a fad. But people do it on purpose. Those guys are heroes. Me? I'm not doing that. No, I'm not brave enough. All I want to talk about today is what happens in cold water immersion during an emergency. So someone's on the ice, fishing, by a stream, by a river, and they fall in. What are the dangers that could happen? Does hypothermia kill first? We're gonna go over that today. So thanks for tuning in.
I'm Savannah from Rural Rescue Life. I'm a firefighter, a first aid instructor, a business owner, but most importantly, I'm a mom. Here at Rural Rescue Life, we share home and family safety tips in hopes to grow your confidence and knowledge for a safer community. If you are new to our channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell beside so you get notifications when we upload new safety content.
Now, what is cold water? Anything in Canada is cold water all the time. Any time of year, it doesn't matter, it's cold water. You could be mid-August and sun's out, guns out, good to go, but it's still freezing cold water if someone is in there for too long of a time. The same things are gonna happen, it's just gonna take a much longer period of time. Now, we might think that hypothermia is the #1 killer of cold water immersion. It's actually not. There's more factors that are gonna happen before hypothermia sets in, like way before, half an hour before. Literally within the first minute, somebody could die, and it has nothing to do with hypothermia. Now, I was told not to actually fall into the river, but you guys want to see the real thing, right? You know that's not happening. So, what are the stages of cold water immersion? Well, the first one is literally when you hit the water. It is so cold that you are gasping to catch your breath. 20% of people will actually die in the first 60 seconds of falling into a freezing cold body of water just because they can't catch their breath. Their heart rate is gonna skyrocket, their blood pressure's going up, they're gonna have frantic arm movement. Even the strongest swimmer in a freezing cold body of water potentially will not have the response to catch their breath and start swimming. At this stage, their body hasn't even gotten an ounce close to hypothermia. They're actually in more danger just because they're not able to catch their breath, or if they have frantic movement and they're trying to catch their breath underneath the water. That's very dangerous. Now, if the person survives the cold shock response, what's gonna happen is basically their body, their muscles, their arms and legs is going to start to freeze. So all that warm blood from our extremities is gonna start to travel to our core very quickly to keep our core really warm. Actually, our blood vessels in our arms and legs are going to start shunting blood. Nerves are gonna slow down, not responding well because everything's freezing. We have about 10 to 15 minutes of meaningful movement. What that means is meaningful movement to swim or to get to some place that we can get ourselves out of the water. If we are not able to do that in time, literally we are going to freeze and we won't be able to move our arms anymore. If you've ever stuck your arm in to get a cold pat in the summer and your hands are freezing, you know what I'm talking about. There's way less function out of your hands. Now, when we talk about meaningful movement, that means 10 minutes of meaningful movement with a PFD on, with a life jacket on, something that is going to help you stay afloat. If you're not able to catch your breath, you're not going to be able to swim, but all of that isn't going to happen unless you have proper flotation on. That is what is going to keep you alive. 50% of people actually die because of our bodies freezing and we're not able to swim anymore. They won't even get to hypothermia stage if they're not wearing a life jacket. If they're wearing a life jacket, they will survive long enough to become hypothermic. The first 2 stages that are deadly don't even include hypothermia. It is just your body's response to freezing cold water. Let's say we're able to actually get that person out of that freezing cold body of water. So it's been 10 minutes, it's been 15 minutes, it's been an hour, and they're actually frozen to an ice shack. So when we do cold water training, we actually practice that if you can't get out, you are freezing anything you can to a piece of ice to keep yourself afloat and from not going under. The next stage is circum-rescue collapse. Now, if we pull that person from that body of water and they were able to survive that long, they are so fragile. What can happen is if we pull them out, their body is not able to regulate their heart rate. Their heart rate is all over the place. It's usually too low. What can happen is syncope, which is basically fainting. They can go into V-Tach, which is an irregular heart rhythm, or they can go into cardiac arrest. We have to be so careful with these casualties when we're pulling them from the water. So as you can see, hypothermia is a huge risk with cold water emergencies, but it's actually not the #1 killer. The person has to survive just being in the cold water for less than 20 minutes for hypothermia to even come close to setting in. Next week, tune in and we're gonna go over how you can help save that person's life, pulling them from that body of water. What are all the different things that we can do, not just as a first responder, but as a boater, as a neighbor, someone driving by, as safe as we can be? How do we do that, and how do we save that person's life? Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Hopefully you leave us a comment if you've ever done a icy dip, because I am not doing that. But leave us a comment if you've done that, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next week.